All right. First of all, thanks for everybody that came out. Sold out crowd, active. We certainly appreciate it. We don't take that for granted. Our kids enjoyed getting to play at home after last week. I am proud of the fact that we built this ever since camp started as 28 opportunities, 28 practices for 2 games, not just one, not just the one on Monday night. And trying to take an inexperienced group and have them handle that, the emotions of that, is sometimes challenging. And our kids did a really good job of that. Today's performance in all 3 phases was not perfect by any means. Turned the guy loose on defense. We had a mistake or 2 on special teams, and then acted like we were allergic to the ball there for a little bit on offense. So plenty of things for us to work on that we'll have to improve, but that's kind of going to be the mark of our team is can we continue to improve. It was good to get some of our inexperienced guys in the game to play live action football. And that's a tribute to our starters that they took care of business and we could get those other guys in. So, questions?
We'll start with you one.
Justin, maybe that's kind of leading into the question I was going to ask. Maybe that's the lasting value of this game is the fact that you did get so many younger guys in, continue to develop some depth. You got at least 2 true freshmen in on the offensive line, it looked like. And I know some of that was out of necessity with Hoyt, the bad snaps and stuff like that, some guys getting nicked up. Is that the real value of this, just kind of getting some of those guys in there and developing some depth?
Sure. Well, that's what you want to have happen, is you'd like for it to get comfortable and you to get to play those guys as quickly as you can. And the fact that we got to do that, I stressed to them at halftime that the next 30 minutes of football is really important to the development of our football team and important to the future of our football team, and getting those guys in so we can teach off of that and they can understand the importance of digesting the game plan. I mean, we're calling plays on offense and defense that are in the game plan specific, even though our 2s and 3s are in the game, and those guys have to know what to do and be able to adjust emotions and situations, and there is tremendous value in that.
Justin, has Josh been as efficient as it looks? It seems like he's getting a lot of guys involved in the passing game. He's been pretty on target. Has he been as efficient as it looks to acts like us? Oh,
I think at times, the thing that we've tried to work on is making the average play on a more consistent basis with Josh, and he did that today. Thanks, Pete. He did that today, and did it at a decent clip last week. I think it's going to be a continuing evaluation and process with him as he continues to feel more comfortable, and as we get better around him. I know y'all probably get tired of me talking about that, but it's so important is the quality of experience and playmaking ability that we continue to surround him with to help him distribute the ball. I've always kind of viewed that position as almost like a point guard. And the ability to distribute the ball to those guys in space and have them have a chance to go make plays.
You mentioned the short week of prep. How do you think your guys handled the short week? Were you alarmed during the week? Were you happy with the effort and how it worked?
Oh, I was fairly pleased. It was a pretty large challenge. I mean, again, I don't want to make too much of it, but it was no ordinary short week. I mean, we played on the road in an extremely late game and a highly emotional game. We were all operating on very little rest, which is part of it. I'm certainly not complaining. I'm just saying that combined with an early start, usually when you play a short week, you play a 7 o'clock at night Thursday game, and you have a little bit more time to feel better about your kids getting their legs underneath them and that sort of stuff. So I was most concerned with our ability to continue to be fast out there. But our kids handled the preparation part of it pretty well.
And you said allergic to the ball with some of those putting it on the ground, I assume is what you're referring to. You pulled guys pretty quick if they fumbled. Is that a standard Justin Fuente thing, or was that the short week and you wanted to send a message there?
No, I mean, I told them, we'll pull people out of the core to run the ball before we go out there and just lay it on the ground all the time. Like, that's just poor discipline, poor attention to detail. So I was not pleased with that. So, if you can't hold on to the ball, you don't take care of the ball, you don't value the ball, it's hard for me to trust you with this team. And I love those guys that laid it on the ground, and we're teaching lessons, and we're trying to get better and all those sorts of things, but that's not winning football.
Justin, Ricky Walker came out in that early in the first quarter. Looked like he was kind of frustrated to have something happen to his left leg again. He was in the walking boot. Was that more precautionary than anything? You get any kind of update on him?
Yeah, my yes would be the answer to that. As terms of precautionary, whatever they looked at, the results were good, and we'll know more as the week goes on. So.
Justin, you averaged 6.6 yards per carry today. Last year when you played an FCS opponent, you averaged 2.9, and maybe that was a little bit of a harbinger of things to come. I don't know, but I know stats don't mean that much. But what did you like about your running game other than fumbling? But like, were you seeing sort of the offensive line bully those guys a little more than you saw last year?
Well, last year in this game, we got it handed to us between the technique and scheme that they ran and their physicality up front. That was pretty obvious. We reminded them of that, I can promise you that, in this game last year. But certainly a better performance running the football, and hopefully it will continue as the season goes on.
Final question over here. You were rotating the offensive line even before kind of late. Is that plan coming in? You wanted to see some different lineups? Or kind of talk about what you wanted to do with that?
Well, when Christian went out, and so no, we weren't planning on rotating guys immediately. No, but we do have some guys that we feel like are competing for jobs still. So we wanted, when the game was still in doubt, to put some guys in and see how they responded.
With the quarterbacks, did you give any thought to playing Quincy with the redshirt rule? Just kind of how you approach that, and how you kind of go?
Yeah, I was proud of the backups. I was proud of both Ryan and Hendon. Obviously, Hendon had the long run, looked great running down the sidelines. Yes, it was part of what we talked about. I just didn't want to put him out there that late, kind of just the way things unfolded. They held the ball for a long time on that one drive, and it just a really good opportunity never really came about for us to put him in, but it was something we talked about going in.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
No.
Okay, we'll go straight to questions, Mike.
Yeah.
Bud, with such a young group as we keep asking you about and the short week, what was preparation like, and how do you think your kids handled it?
I thought we handled it pretty good. I thought we were a little sluggish on Wednesday, which would have been our Tuesday practice, but I thought our Thursday practice was really sharp, and I thought the kids handled everything really well. I thought we came out and really played with some energy early. It seemed like we waned a little bit, but that also goes back. We played a lot of younger kids, I think, as the game went along and progressed. But I thought all in all, for a short week, I thought we responded very well.
But you guys have obviously played really well on defense, but I know you hate big plays. 85 last week, 71, 59 today. Is there like a common thread in those plays? Is that youth and experience?
No, the run last week, we were in good defense, and the guy missed a tackle. I mean, that's going to happen in some of that. But today you had two big plays. I mean, they had two plays for 130 yards, and in both of them, they're teachable moments. The first one was they were a huddled team, and then we needed to be checking out of certain things, and they came out in an empty formation. We should have checked to a certain defense. Nobody recognized that, which to me was very disappointing, because those are things to me. Last week, or at least on Monday, I think we'd have been locked in that way, so we can use that as a teaching moment. The second play, we brought a little bit of a zone pressure, and our end dropped to the flat, and they had it was a quick screen. They had a lead blocker, and he should have forced the play. Instead, he jumped inside, and our corner was coming inside out, and end up, giving up your leverage and losing containment. Which, if that guy keeps that leverage, then we got a chance to make that play for a minimal gain at best if we make the tackle. So, but those are correctable things. It's not like it's anything to do with talent. It's not like it's anything to do with the structure of the defense. It goes back to technique and fundamentals and recognizing certain things and then be able to react to certain things.
First of two questions in the back, Coach.
Coach, Fuente mentioned last week how William & Mary's time of possession was really key for them in week one. What can you say about your team's really efficiency on third down to really get off the field and get the ball back?
Well, that was big early. I know, I don't know if they converted a first down or a third down conversion in the first half. That was big. Anytime we can get off the field and get the ball back to our offense, that's critical. I felt like going into this game, that's the one thing William & Mary does. It's a little bit different. They're going to be a little bit more like Boston College, where they're going to line up and try to run power and control the clock and be physical up front. And we felt like that might be their game plan a little bit, and maybe run it on third down. Like Delaware last year, they didn't really even try to throw the ball on third down. And these guys early, kind of in the same boat, and they had a little bit of trouble protecting their quarterback early. They got into a lot of 12 personnel, creating broad blocking surfaces to help their tackles, their young tackles against our ends. And but that was critical. I thought a key point too early was when we turned it over right away, and then we came right out and the next series and created a turnover and kind of got the momentum back going our way and got some juices flowing. And I thought that was a big play early in the football game.
Coach, at halftime, this team had not allowed a rushing yard. Is this like one of the first times that this defense has never allowed a rushing yard?
Well, this defense in particular, yes. And that's the one thing we want to do is if we can make an offense one-dimensional, that makes my calling, a game a little bit different. It allows your kids to be able to pin their ears back and anticipate certain things. But yeah, anytime we can stop the run, that's critical in our success, in my opinion. We want to make as much as possible make a team one-dimensional.
But do you have much of a relationship with Coach Laycock? Obviously, Frank does. And what is the challenge of going against one of his? Well,
and I talked to Jimmy. I've known Jimmy for a long time, and our staffs used to play golf together back in the day. We'd go do some things and travel down to Williamsburg and play together and do some different things together. And then I've known a couple guys that, besides Coach, but guys that I coached with, that had coached with Jimmy, and but really a guy that has made a tremendous impact in the game of football. He really offensively, when he was doing things and running the show, he was ahead of the game, offensively more so than a lot of people, and that's allowed them to have the success that that he had for many years. And I think the one thing that he always had the challenge of was a high academic institution, getting quality kids in there, and then which he did, and then really coached them up and being very competitive. So just wish him the very best as this season goes along, but and wish him the very best in retirement, because he's a guy that's like I said, made an impact not just to players, but it made an impact to coaches, guys like myself. That his longevity, how he did things. It was just special that I had an opportunity to coach against him.
Who's a better golfer, Jimmy or Frank?
Well, I wasn't in that group. I was with the beer drinking group. We were over there. Those guys, they were making a little bit more money than I was making at the time. So I think they had a little bit some wagers on that maybe I wasn't involved with at that time.
Question on the left, Coach. Gaines is a guy you talked about throughout the.
What's that?
Gaines, Hashan.
Yeah, House.
Is a guy you talked about throughout the preseason. Had the 2 turnovers today.
Yeah.
What have you seen from his development, kind of light turning on? And do you expect it to be a different guy on that line every game that kind of steps up?
Well, I don't know. I mean, number one, House loves the game of football, and he loves to work, he loves to compete, he loves to practice, and it shows in his performance right now. He was a guy that really came on the last half, I thought, of last season and played more and more. and gain more and more confidence. And you gain confidence when you have experience, and that's the best teacher, and he's got some of that right now. And but he's made some plays for us, and he's a quick twitch guy. He's got a great ability to come off the edge. I wish he would gain a little bit more weight. That's my biggest thing with him and gripe with him. I want him to eat. And but I really like the direction he's going. And what was the second part? Oh, different. You know, I don't know. I'm hoping so. I mean, hopefully when we put guys on the field, I want 11 playmakers. Or in the perfect world, you have 5, 6, 7 playmakers, and the other 4, 5, or 6 play for us and not for the opponent. But we have the potential, particularly defensive line, because that is our most experienced group for guys, different guys to step up and make some plays.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Before I mention Mr. Gaines. Raise your hands, we'll get started. We'll go back here to Trey. Figure to Trey.
House, you were able to start off pretty hot. You got the sack early into the game. You had 2 forced fumbles. How did you feel out there today?
Just all week we just pretty much focused on just coming in ready, turning the page, not starting slow. Obviously we had a lot of emotions. It was the first home game, so the crowd had us hyped up, and we had just had a turnover on the other side of the ball, so it was pretty much the defense's job at that point to swing momentum back into our favor. So all week I've been working on getting off the ball. We got them into a passing situation, so I just got up, had a pretty good get off. Saw the ball, saw the quarterback, and I just went and sacked him.
You had a real free run at that quarterback on that first one. Is that like a defensive end's dream that you get past the tackle like that? What goes through your mind?
Like I said, just all week, I just been trying to work on small things, just like getting off on the ball, timing the snap up, and like I said, I just been keying on the ball the whole day, watching film. I saw the ball. I tried to move with the ball instead of moving after it. I got a pretty good, like I said, I got a good get off. Just bent the corner, and it was good, yeah.
House, it looked like you guys' offensive line really bullied them, and that we didn't see that last year against Delaware. I mean, you go against those guys every day, or you did all camp long. Sure. This offensive line, what is it capable of, and what have you seen out of it?
I feel like we have leaders. Obviously, with the offensive and defensive line, we pretty much have the most experience on the team right now. And I feel like that we have a lot of guys that are ready to take steps. We got young guys like Darisaw, and then on the opposite end, you got an older guy like Joshua Najman. So you just got guys that can really help each other and feed off of each other. I'm really excited about this group. I feel like we definitely have a good chance of being able to run the ball and turning things up in that nature.
House, at the end of the game, the team went into the end zone. How big was Hokie Nation for y'all today?
It's every time we get a chance to be in lane or even at away games, as you saw on Monday, the Hokie Nation, we're always feeding off of each other. They feed us and we feed them. So it's kind of like a ongoing relationship. It was huge to be at home, to have the crowd coming out in the Sandman again. It was like I said, it was a lot of emotions. So it felt great.
There was a lot of talk before the season, question mark about the defense because you were so young.
Yes, sir.
Now, obviously, you're going to say that, I'm not surprised and all that stuff, but everybody else in the world is because you are so young. Mm-hmm. How remarkable is it how you guys have played defensively these 2 games?
I guess you already called it, but, just seeing it in practice every day, we got a bunch of guys. I feel like we have a good mix of older guys that lead the way and show these younger guys how to compete every day, how to be professional, how to work. And then you got a bunch of younger guys that are willing to learn and willing to follow suit. So it just molds well. We just like I said, seeing it every day in practice, it isn't a surprise to me or anybody else around here, honestly.
How hard was it to get ready in the short week, coming off the emotional win and all the hype?
I wouldn't say it was hard at all. We have a great strength staff, Coach Hilgard and Coach Crosby and those guys. And we participate. We talk about urgency all the time, going 1-0. So it really was immediate. Instant urgency was our thing for this week, so just being able to turn the page and focus in. Immediately after we beat Florida State, the talking, the conversation in the locker room was William and Mary, so we'd already been preparing.
Final question, Danny.
Bud mentioned he wouldn't mind you seeing being a little bit heavier. Is that something in the offseason that he kind of harped on the whole time, or do you like the weight you're playing at right now?
I mean, I feel good. I mean, like, there's always room for improvement. I mean, if I threw on a couple pounds, I mean, it wouldn't hurt. But I mean, where I'm at right now, I mean, I feel good. So I mean, I'm not really too concerned on losing weight or gaining weight right now. Just just trying to go 1-0 every week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in. All right, raise your hands over to the microphones for your questions. We'll start with Mike.
Same question I've been asking them, but the challenge of getting ready in the short week, how did you guys handle that in terms of physically, and how do you think your teammates handled the hype of a big win Monday and then the short week?
I think we handled it well. During the week we didn't have any pads on or anything like that, so that definitely was very key for us because you could tell guys were tired, from the short week. So getting everything we needed to do in and then kind of getting our legs back was something very important for us.
Anytime you score 62 points, obviously your offense is doing a lot of things right. But considering the damage that you guys did on offense, and that's a lot of time without the ones in, what can you say about that group?
Overall, I don't think – our offense, we put up points, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement. We had a couple fumbles, even though, one was recovered back by us. I think there's things that we need to get better at. But putting up points like that, running the ball like how we did is very important, and it's good to see guys get in and get those type of reps. So.
Being a coach's kid and a quarterback, it seems like you're probably a little bit more hypercritical of yourself than a lot of guys are. It seems like you've been pretty efficient these first two games. Do you feel that way?
I guess you could say so, but I know I'll be kicking myself till next week about missing Kuma low in the red zone. Just didn't really regain or reset my feet for that, but I have a great supporting cast. Our receivers have got tremendously better since last season. My offensive line is doing great. We're mixing everybody around, and they just seem to make it work. So I'd say that's just a credit to those guys.
Josh, both you and Ryan had touchdown runs where it looked like you were stopped at the line of scrimmage and you just kind of kept going. I know that's just kind of your effort. That's part of it. But where does the O-line come in on that?
That was not on me at all. That was I'm not sure. I think it was Silas and DeAndre Plain and Chung were like basically carrying me the 6 yards or however long it was. And then who was it? Ryan, when he just kind of powered through. I think he was following Hoyt. And that just makes it easy on you, really. So I wouldn't put that run on me at any means, but the offensive line did a great job. There's like 8 guys that are rotating, to be honest with you. So the way that they fit together, I know Chung played like three different positions in one quarter. I think he said he played right tackle, left guard, and then center. So to be that versatile and other guys to be able to come in at different positions is very important.
Backups got to play today behind you. What was your kind of role in that second half, especially? What were you kind of doing and kind of encourage them on? What was your duty in the second half?
Yeah, I was just, trying to encourage them as much as I could. I was signaling at one point, and then I was running down the sideline for Hendon on his long run. He did the same. It was basically the same play in camp, but I think it was longer. It was probably about 80 in camp, but it was a great run, and Ryan executed well and got a touchdown, so it was pretty cool to see we all scored. So.
Josh, you kind of got to go back to your redshirt year and deliver signals onto the sidelines. How did that feel to see the rest of the QB room kind of get their moments in the game?
Yeah, it was great. To be able to watch those guys and see them celebrate. I know it was Ryan's first touchdown as a Hokie. It was Hendon's first touchdown as in his college career, so that's just awesome to watch. Especially Hendon's, that was awesome. He was just gone, and then Ryan to power through. So it was very, very cool to watch.
Back here, last question.
Josh, Damon Hazelton had a pretty good game going 4 for 107. What exactly has he brought to the offense that makes it explosive?
I think he's just a great receiver. He's what you'd want in a receiver. He's big, strong, tall, and fast. On this long touchdown I had to him, he made it. It was a double move. He beat the corner, and I just tried to not miss him, basically. So he's done a great job, and it will continue to get better.
Thanks, Josh.
Cool.
Start back.
Kyle, I saw before the game you got to see your dad at the start. What was it like to just have your dad here today for your first home opener of your senior year?
It's pretty cool. It's special. He's only been to a handful of my games throughout my career. I think this might actually be his second, I think, because he's always he's coaching, and then we have our games, so it always doesn't match up well. And then usually our bye week lines up with their bye week, so it's always weird coincidences like that. But for him to be here, it's pretty special. This is his first home game he's made in a long time, so pretty cool. Pretty cool to see him on the sideline.
Obviously, a lot of shuffling in the offensive line, and Josh mentioned all the positions you were playing. What was going on, and how much of that was getting guys experience, and how much of that was guys getting yanked out for not getting the job done on a given play?
I think going into the game, we knew that a bunch of people were going to play on the line. I mean, Coach Weiss told us that yesterday in like our pregame meetings. He was like, get ready to get shuffled around, get ready, young guys get ready to play. So I think it's a lot of that. And then if I'm able to step in where I'm needed, then I'm glad to do that too. So
Do you have a spot of those three that you're most comfortable, or you really don't?
I'm pretty comfortable with all of them. I've been here for a long time. I've played pretty much every position on the line, so I'm pretty comfortable at every position.
Kyle, Coach Fuente earlier said last year against Delaware, you guys got pushed around up front, and he was very disappointed in that. How satisfying is it to have a performance like you guys did today in terms of just sort of trampling them up front?
It was nice, but there's always those little things. There's always those plays that stay in your mind that you could have done something better. And I think tomorrow we'll get in the film room, look at those plays, and learn from it, and then keep moving forward and keep on having performances like today. And that's our main goal.
Kyle, Hoyt had a couple snaps that came out a bit hot and lost 17 on that one play. You come in for him. Do you say anything to him on the sideline, tips or bits of advice, because you've been through stuff before?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through the same situation he has. I just tell him to keep his head up, just try to move on to the next play. And I think he did that. He's been dealing with some stuff, but he's a trooper, man. He's a fighter, so I give him props for getting back out there and playing again. So.
Kyle, there were obviously a few true freshmen. What did you see from some of those younger guys, especially because it seems so rare on the offensive line to see a true freshman play? Guys like Christian Darrisol and John Harris today.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see what they can do. I mean, I remember my freshman year, I came in here maybe 245 pounds, I was a little guy. But seeing them come in here and play right away and play well at that, it's pretty impressive. And, Darrisol and John and even Lacidus and Silas and those guys, they played really well, and it's good to see them growing up and then getting comfortable in game situations and stuff.
Being on the other side of the ball, those guys are all going to say that they're not surprised by how well everyone's playing and all that stuff. But being on the other side, are you surprised with, because the youth on the defense was such a big topic, are you surprised by how locked down they've been and how solid?
I mean, honestly, not really. I've seen these guys work through the spring, through winter workouts, through summer, and through fall camp, and they work very hard, and it's really impressive what they can do, And just hats off to those guys for stepping up and, playing well.
Thank you very much, Kyle.
Yep.
Questions for Terry?
What was that experience like to get out there to make the plays you're able to make, and just how much fun was this afternoon for you?
It was really fun. I was excited, get my name called to go out, make a play. Everybody was blocking up nice and just doing my thing.
Did you know during the week that, it was a short week, but that you would have a chance to have a bigger role in this one?
Yeah, they kind of put me in some packages during the week to see if I could execute them.
I guess you did pretty well though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Raise your hands and reach the microphones. Aaron?
As you said, they were blocking up pretty good up front. How good? I mean, how big
Really-
were the holes?
I had some pretty big holes, a lot of running room to get through. Even people was in the line running. A lot of big holes I can get through and make plays. So
Mike, what is a typical Justin Fuente reaction to a fumble from a running back?
not good. I mean, we try to keep the ball off the ground, so it's a little new now, but it's not good.
Is it kind of standard knowledge that if you put the ball on the ground, you're probably not going to be in the next series?
Yeah, yeah. So we practice ball security a lot. So he takes that very seriously.
Any other questions? Back here on the right.
Terry, as you guys as a whole, as an offense, had a lot of consistency today. 12 possessions, 10 scores, including 8 touchdowns. What kind of made the difference that allowed y'all to be a lot more consistent and give Oscar Bradburn pretty much a day off?
Practice. We practice hard, and we practice scoring situations, driving down the field a lot. And, you know, when the team's doing what they're supposed to do, all 11 guys doing their job, we can make big plays and keep the punt off the field. So, and we were just hot. Everybody was turning up first home game opener. Everybody was doing their job.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The short practice week and the hype surrounding your win Monday, was it hard to kind of refocus on the task at hand for this one?
Not at all. It was, I mean, we knew, like, during camp it was going to be a short week to prepare and everything, so we already had a mentality of moving on from Florida State.
And where you're from, did you know Coach Laycock? Did he recruit you at all? And kind of what were your thoughts on going against him?
Who's that?
William Mary's head coach.
Oh, nah, he didn't say anything to me. I don't know. I never met him, never seen him. Obviously, I didn't even know his name, so.
The offense seemed to want to get you the ball as much as they could in space. How do you, whether that be the short passing game or even like jet sweeps, how do you feel like accepting that role, and how do you feel once the ball's in your hands, how you can be dynamic?
It feels good to know that I have the coach's trust for them to give me the ball and handle the situations. But when I get the ball, it's just touchdown. Like of course that's what you should think, but that's what it is. Every time I get the ball, it's like quick thinking. You gotta get your mind right, but that's it.
Back in the room.
Hezzy, what can you say about Josh's confidence? It seems as though it keeps going up, and the relationship between him and the wide receivers, it keeps getting better every single game.
I feel like anybody can have a good relationship with Josh. Like the type of person he is, his personality, he makes sure that you know what you're doing. He's not one of those guys that throw negativity at you. He makes sure you keep your head up and everything. But as far as the relationship go with the receivers and Josh now, we built up a strong relationship with the new receivers, and even like the receivers that don't start, he makes sure everybody's on the same level. Everybody knows their assignments and everything.
Go on.
We haven't talked to you since the FSU game, and I wanted to ask you about the block that you had on Kuma's touchdown reception. How much love did you get for that block after that game?
It was a lot. I was ESPN, my phone blowing up, but I was just doing what's best for the team. I wasn't really focused on what clout am I going to get, what the media's going to say, but after I got to my phone, it went crazy.
Was that almost more satisfying than any one thing you did today?
Have
a block like that? Or?
If I had scored my first touchdown today instead of getting out on the 1-inch yard line, then it would have been satisfying. But as far as that block go, I felt good to crack back on their best DB.
Man, that last year, the Hokies beat Delaware handily, 27-0, but they didn't run the ball at all. It was, Justin Fuente was in here earlier. He said you guys got pushed around. How encouraging as a receiver, to see the running game kind of flourish today, look pretty promising today. What does that do for you guys on the perimeter there?
It builds up confidence because we know we don't have to just go to one thing. We don't have to go straight to passing. We know we got both. At the Delaware game, we did get of course we beat them by a lot, but as a team we didn't feel like we played good. We left some plays out there, and then on the perimeter, it's been a big thing working on perimeter blocking and keeping leverage and everything, and the fact that the coaches trust us to run the ball to the outside, then that brings a lot of joy to the receiving corps.
I was asking Terrius about fumbles and for the receivers too. What is the reaction from the coaching staff if you fumble in a practice?
Of course it's going to be bad, but it's bad because as much as we work on, like every practice is ball security drills, but as much as we work on it, the lack of focus was not there, and our ball security was terrible, honestly. But that's something that we're going to work on in practice as the year goes on, and we're going to get better.
How angry was Coach in those first few minutes when it seemed like the ball was on the ground?
I think we was all on the same page. Like, honestly, Coach didn't even have to say anything. We already knew inside that like it had to get better. But I mean, of course, Coach Fu brought it into reality that like y'all got to get it right, or this game will slip.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Thanks, Jose.
All right, so just a reminder, folks, you're welcome to stay and work in this room if you want to. You're welcome to go back to the press box.